Hi guys, Markera for the Strong here with this week's reading. Just shuffling up, and here we go. Get those out. We'll be doing 3 piles this week. And I think I'm gonna focus on relationships this reading. So let's see what comes up. There we go. Here are your 3 piles. Make it a little easier for you to choose. And let's get started. Pile 1, let's get started. Your motivation manifesto says, we have forgotten that the natural foe to life is not a distant death, but a present in the moment detachment from living. Excuse if my background gets a little noisy. I've been waiting for the perfect moment all weekend, and I just got a lot of people this weekend with us, so house is kind of busy. Your soul coaching card is abundance. All my needs are met above and beyond my greatest expectations. And we're going to work on surrendering the fear of change. The universe is reminding you that you are cared for always. Whether you're afraid of a change in your job, your health, or relationship, or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith and that all is well. That goes great with this abundance card. And it also ties in very well with this, because I have found from personal experience that sometimes the stress of everyday life can push us into a state of detachment from living. This doesn't bode well in relationships, to be honest. So for those of you in a relationship and not sure for you in a relationship that may be stressful, that may be displaying red flags, that may be not what you expected, you definitely could be living detached. But what I want to tell you is that you need to surrender your fear of change, because maybe the change is inner work that would allow you to address the red flags that are going on, or inner work that is going to give you the strength and the confidence to end a bad and toxic relationship. See, we're being reminded that we are cared for always. If you're afraid of a change on your job, health, or relationship, or aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. And with your abundance, all my needs are met above and beyond my greatest expectations. I've left toxic relationships, 3 major toxic relationships, because I got into one when I was a teenager. And I was fearful each time, and I had gotten to the point where I didn't care for a moment, but each time I learned to acknowledge what my intuition was telling me. So I gave each relationship less time than the relationship before. So once the red flags started showing up, I was like, nope. And as terrified as I was, as comfortable as I was with the person, because this is who I'd known for so long, I also knew that I could not stay there. I also had to trust and believe that I would be okay, that I would be taken care of. I left a marriage where I was not making enough to take care of me and my kids, and somehow me and my children made it through. So here is your confirmation that you can do it and that all will be well. Okay, pile 2, what do we have here for you? Simplicity. Deep, profound serenity is expanding in my life. We do not need to wait for perfect conditions. We will find perfection in progress. Surrender to rest and sleep. To prevent burnout, slow down. Honor your need for quiet time and peaceful sleep to rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. And like I said, I'm focusing a bit on relationships this week for this reading. And so, for those of you who are questioning what to do next, there may be some tumultuous times going on, and it may not necessarily be there's a need to split. But there may be ongoing arguments, ongoing disagreements, just a moment where you're going through something where it feels like it won't ever get sorted out. Always remember that the only control that you have is over yourself, over your actions, your reactions, and that every action has a reaction. So if you're in a rut where there's a lot of argument and disagreement going on and you're going head to head, maybe it's time to pull back. Maybe it's time to slow down and just take a deep breath and center yourself. Rest and sleep. You could be burning yourself out, constantly arguing, constantly trying to find that you're right and prove that you're right, and not giving an inch and expecting the other person to give in, trying to not compromise when compromise could be the answer. Honor your need for quiet time. Withdraw. Even if the other person tries to engage, step back and decide that you're not going to. Exercise the control over yourself that you have. You cannot control them. You cannot control the way they feel or the way they react. Step into that profound serenity. Let that encompass you. We do not need to wait for perfect conditions. We will find perfection in progress. Do you know how much progress you can make in silence? Do you know how much progress you can make when you tune into your intuition and decide, I don't have to be the top dog in this argument or this situation? I'm not talking about a toxic situation or a dangerous situation or anything major. I'm talking about those ruts that we get in where we can't seem to see eye to eye with our partner, where nothing is making sense or seems to make sense, or you're going in circles. Sometimes in order to break that endless loop, you have to be the one to step back and analyze and go, you know what? Let's look at this from a different point of view. Maybe you both can journal it out. Maybe you can make a list of why you see it that way, and they make a list of why they see it that way, and exchange the lists. Maybe you both can sit in silence, holding hands, and just breathing deep and coming to a center of calm. It's amazing what happens in these moments. I am very fiery and very argumentative when I'm ready. And I have learned, as I gotten older, to put that aside, to not always dig my heels in about being right or loud. Sometimes we get loud because we just feel like that's intimidating. But what I've learned to do is sit down and have a conversation and hear out the other side. Hear out why this is viewed the way it is. And do you know that sometimes it can go back to ancestral wounds, generational conditioning? It could be as simple as delving into practices and habits from your family that you grew up in, the surroundings that you grew up in, the friends, whoever you had contact with. It could be that. It could be as simple as going through that and understanding why you have the view you do, they have the view they do, and what can we do to meet in the middle and work through this. So pile 2, those are your cards, and I'm on to pile 3. Okie dokie. Pile 3, here are your cards. And like I mentioned, I am touching on relationships this week. And so we have surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Freedom and victory belong to those who remain strong and true despite temptation. Emerging. I am emerging into the light with joy and ease. Okay, so in terms of relationships, it's interesting that I just said this in pile 2, that the only control you have is over yourself, your thoughts, and your actions. So, piggybacking a bit off of that, you may be struggling with issues, with things that have happened to you in the past, with previous relationships, and it may be surfacing in this one. It may be a loyalty issue where you've experienced betrayal before and you're having a hard time relaxing into just trusting the person that you're with, despite them reassuring and not really giving any indication that they are betraying you or about to betray you. That is a very heavy struggle, and there can be great temptation to make accusations. There can be the temptation to pick a fight or to snoop around and try to determine what it is that they're up to when they can literally be up to nothing. And sometimes leaning into that trust feels scary because it's like, what if it's too good to be true? What if they are doing something and I let my guard down and it turns out that they are up to no good? It's the risk we take in every relationship. And we cannot continue to build on that distrust. We cannot continue to internally damage ourselves mentally and physically and emotionally, worrying about the what ifs. Because if your relationship is in a stable place where all is well, we have chronic toxic habits of worrying, when is it going to go left? When is it going to be wrong? When are we going to find out that this person is doing me wrong just like everybody else? When honestly, this could be your person who is for you, who loves you genuinely and will not do anything to betray you. Let go of that negative thinking. When those thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Tell yourself that you finally have the love that you deserve and that you will not be entertaining thoughts of otherwise. I am worthy of this love. This is the love that I deserve. And you can emerge into the light with joy and ease. Embrace that light. Embrace the light. It will help dissipate the dark of the negative thinking that you find yourself being pulled into. And the freedom and victory belong to those who remain strong and true despite temptation. As long as you keep fighting the temptation to surrender to those negative thoughts, you will have freedom and victory, because you will be free to be loved the way you deserve to be loved, to accept that love, to revel in that love, to reciprocate that love. And the victory will be not giving in to those thoughts. It'll be walking in that light, becoming your full, beautiful self, because you're no longer worried about what could possibly be happening. And at the end of the day, you cannot control the actions of others. You only can control yourself and your reaction. So you take all of that into consideration and you walk in the light and you be your best self. And know that, like I said, you are worthy of love. So that was pile 3. And I will see all you guys in the next one. Have a good week. Let me know in the comments how these readings have been touching you, affecting you, and I'll see you next week.